do real quick, y'all. I'm gonna forward. Or can you do that, Hanifa? Forward the link on over, and
Hour.
yeah.
I'm trying. Go ahead.
Shaka,
Yes, ma'am.
Barry, how you doing this evening?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing super fantastic. Thank you so much for asking. We appreciate you coming on and joining us. We love hearing from you because your voice is always loud and strong. You know, when you're making your statements, you no holds bar. You don't sugarcoat anything. You lay it out. You say exactly how you feel. You know what I'm saying? And you let the chips fall where they may. And I admire that about you because, it's not a lot of brothers out here that do that. You know, a lot of us hold back, for the sake of people's emotions and things like that. But you don't fall in that realm at all. So
I appreciate that. And likewise, that's what I see in you. I love your intellectual curiosity. You're always struggling. Are you for the people? And
love it.
whether we agree or not on a given subject, I know that your heart is in there, and as I'm sure you, same as for me. So,
yes, sir. So, and Jauhar, we're gonna jump on in a minute when he comes back on the screen. But we just want to get your overall perspective of the mood right now in the country as it relates to this whole presidential election. How are you feeling? Where do you fall? What would you like to share?
well, first and foremost, I wanted the hurt be over with. That I'm sure, whether we all agree or not, who we want to win, we want that to be over with.
Mm-hmm.
But we're in strange times. We're in strange, unpredictable times, but times that we've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the divide right now. Of course, it's easy to say racism is a problem in America, but so is fascism, and we don't talk about the rise of fascism enough. And I think in this president, more than anything, I see the remnants of the rise of the Third Reich, of a real fascist state, and that's dangerous. Over and beyond the issues that affect Black people.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think that's man, it's moving the needle right now.
Okay. Jauhar.
Yes.
Brother Abraham, how are you doing this evening?
And you, how you doing?
Doing well. Again, you're another brother that, similar to Shaka, where you break it down, you don't hold back. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to get both of you on at the same time, so we can hash it out, because you fall, on the side of the spectrum where most Black people don't, as it relates to the current condition of this whole voting scenario right now. As we all can see with your hat, you're a Trump man through and through. You're proud of it, and you let it be known. And so I want to ask you the same question. What is your perspective as it relates to the current mood right now in the country? Where do you fall? What do you want to share? Things of that nature.
So first, I like to, give credit where it's due. Like, I really appreciate this current president, one, because even though Black people are out of order and wrong, mostly in this scenario or in this situation, if it wasn't for President Trump, Black people wouldn't be talking about politics as much as they talking about it. I have never, not even when, sorry, President Obama was running, he didn't inspire Black people to talk or to be as activated as this president. And so I'm happy on one hand to see Black people finally come into the meeting. but I'm a little saddened that we still fall for the same tricks. I mean, when I read what they say about Donald Trump, if I just close my eyes, I would just imagine that Donald Trump would be a black man. I mean, everything I read in the paper is so eerily similar to how they characterized Dr. King in the 60s. They said Dr. King was a communist. They said he was working for Russia. I mean, the same old things while they set the stage to have him assassinated. So just in general, anybody that this country or the leadership of this country has that much venom against, generally, I'm going to go check them out. And I'm probably going, whenever everybody else is going to the left, I'm going to probably go to the right.
Okay. Shaka, I saw you back there smirking a bit on something he mentioned about Trump being, you know, he's not a crowd favorite amongst most Americans, even the masses and the administrations, you know, outside of his own.
I mean, it's for a reason though. It's not like he's an innocent guy and he's like a nice guy. I mean, he's belligerent. He's a liar. He's ignorant. I mean, I mean, if I comport myself in a certain way, people are not gonna like me. So just the fact that people, you can't use, people didn't like King and people didn't like Trump. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty large Venn diagram you're drawing. It's a whole lot of variables in there that you're skipping. You're forgetting his words, his deeds. I mean, so I hear what he's saying, but none of that makes sense. I mean, it's disrespectful to even compare him to Dr. King. And they don't call Trump a communist, they call him a fascist, because that's what he is. He's a very dangerous man. He's a very wicked man. And and there's a lot of projecting you're doing there to think that just because we don't like him, there's something wrong with us. No, there's something wrong with him. I mean, and there's something wrong with you if you think there's something wrong with black people because we recognize the wickedness in this man. Because he has a history of being antagonistic towards us and our issues, even before he entered politics. So to say that we're wrong for not liking him it's delusional at best, and it's disingenuous. I mean, just really, I mean, it's just not being real. And we have more than enough reason not to like that man. If you like him, that's fine. You see something in him, that's cool. I don't begrudge you for liking that man, but don't put the beef on us. There's a reason why most black people don't like Trump. You might like Trump. You speak for yourself. You don't speak for me. I don't like him. I hate him, and he hates me. He probably hates you too, but that's between y'all.
And you sound so ignorant. I mean, to sit there and characterize and to run your mouth like that, I would think that you know the man personally.
I do know him personally.
But you don't. Just like most Negroes, you get your opinion from CNN and ABC and NBC and the Washington Post, and you sound just like a person who is an employee of theirs being told to follow a script.
I don't work for anybody.
I would never sit around and talk about somebody who I don't know that way, like the way you talk about him. Like, tell me about a deal that you was involved with him. I know.
I've never been in a deal with him. Neither have you. So what does that mean? I mean, come on, man. That's ridiculous.
There's not one. Tell me about a conversation that you had with him.
I've never had a conversation with him.
You've never had. I know. Let me help you.
I never had a conversation with Hitler. Can I say with Hitler's wicked?
I know you haven't. So what you're doing is exposing yourself because you really don't understand what it's like to really be under attack by the government or by the people who are empowering this government. In fact, because you're so bright and you're so brilliant, how could anybody black, after the last 50 years of what the Democrats have doled out to us, why aren't you examining why are you still a Democrat and why would you be supporting the Democratic Party? Where I was just in Baltimore earlier this week. I walked about 20 blocks with vacant homes, all of the homelessness in Baltimore, all the trash in the streets and in the alleys. a 7 to 10 minute walk from downtown Baltimore, a place called Harlem Park. Harlem Park used to be populated with black people. And the only people who have run that city and have misused the money in that city are the black people, the black elected officials, the black Democrats. They're the ones who have our people in this condition. I was in Atlanta on Tuesday, down by the black colleges, all of those rundown, abandoned buildings, apartment complexes with 50 and 60 vacant apartment buildings. Again, all black leadership, black city council, black mayor, and then you got all these people sleeping on the street, all these black people. So black people don't talk to me about Donald Trump. He just got into politics 3 years ago. When you had a president for 8 years, you had a president that looked like you for 8 years, and the agenda that he pushed, I don't care about your feelings. I'm telling you facts. The agenda that he pushed was for the gays and the Latinos. That's the facts. Tell me what he did for black people, for the black man, because he's supposed to be one. Tell me what piece of legislation did he enact that's going to impact me and you or our sons that's going to help us over the next 20 or 30 years.
Well, most of what he tried to enact was blocked by Mitch McConnell, your guy, right? I mean,
No, because see, that's the same lie. That's the same.
I'll let you talk. I'll let you go on. I mean,
but that's the same lie, because the Democrats,
I'm just saying,
Democrats had the House, the presidency, and they had the Senate in 2009 and 2010. So you keep perpetuating the same lie.
I'm not perpetuating anything. He had the first term. He tried it the first term.
The statement I made, is that true?
Hear me out.
Is that a true statement?
No, it's not a true statement.
I mean, so the Democrats didn't have the House, the Senate, and the president in 2009 and 2010.
They barely had it. Can I give context to it?
You use words like disingenuous, brother. That's a yes or no. Can we fact check that real quick?
Sure, you can do it. Fact check anything.
So again, I'm gonna ask you: Did the Democrats have the House?
Yes, they had it. They had it.
Okay, so stop lying. Then don't say they had a little bit.
They had it and they lost it. They lost it in the midterms. So they had it.
In the midterms.
They got one thing accomplished.
But they had it for
now. Yeah, you have to let him respond.
I mean, they had it. They lost it in the midterms. But that's so beside the point. You're meandering right now. Okay, we started with Trump. Now you're walking to Baltimore. You're walking to Atlanta. You're doing a whole lot of stuff, right? But you're not defending Trump. That's what we're talking about. But we can go down the rabbit hole if you want to. We'll do that. But let me take from the top. So you're walking through Atlanta and Baltimore and all that other stuff. Okay, first of all, you have to have context of what you're saying. So yeah, there's a Democrat controlled city council, what have you, but a Republican controls the state. Okay, Republican controls the budget. There's a Republican governor that cut the school budget in that state, in that same city you're walking around. So look at your governor, but you don't want to do that. You want to point to the black faces that you see. But we've been in this country for 401 years, from slavery to freedom. And all you want to point all the problems of the black community on Democrats. That's lame. That's a cop-out. That's you just trying to be a Republican jockey boy. That's all you're doing. Because our problems are so much more complex than Democrat or Republican. We live in a two-party system. So we either going to be both for a Democrat or Republican. Most of the Republican Party is controlled by white men. Racist white men. Racist white men that pay black men like you to run around and confuse other black people. Okay? Most of the party is white. Okay? You can look at Kentucky, Alabama, Georgia, like he was in, they're all poor states run by white men. So you can put inner cities on black city council all you want, but you're ignoring the larger problem, and it's corny. Okay, I can go down there rabbit hole. Yes, Obama had the state. He had a House and Senate. He had it for 2 years. Okay, and in most of those House seats he held and in the Senate, they were held in purple districts, white Democrats that lean right. Okay, so everything you're saying, all the problems that's wrong, everything that's wrong with the Democrats is because they're trying to get closer to the Republicans, so they can get the median white vote. The way you think, white people that think just like your black ass. That's who they're trying to. That's who the Democrats. That's the worst of the Democratic Party is they're trying to woo your people. So everything you're trying to put on me, like you're walking around talking about you walking through these communities and bemoaning how poor they are, but Trump is cutting their budget. Trump doesn't. He all of a sudden had this platinum plan. I'm pretty sure you know a whole lot about. But where has it been for 4 years? He hasn't done shit but cut budgets. So how is it that he's our savior? I don't love Biden. I voted for him. I don't like him. I don't care about him. But you love Trump. So the onus is on you. Make the case for why that motherfucker should be the president. When he don't like me.
Man.
So Jauhar, that was my question. Jauhar, if you could specifically, what are your specific reasons for why you think Black people actually should look towards maybe supporting Trump? What are your specific reasons?
So first of all, you talked a whole bunch of gibberish. A lot of that shit don't make sense. When Black people are elected into office, public office, and the mayors control the budget, billions of dollars in these cities, Black people are in charge of what happens with the budget. So for you to give them a pass, for Negroes like you to give Black people passes, that's why we in the condition we in. And that's why you would sit up here weak and say you voted for somebody who you don't like and don't believe in. I'm a little different than you. The reason that I support this president is, number one, he's not a politician. And I think America is in trouble because of this particular reason, that there are too many lawyers on Capitol Hill, and they don't represent the interests of the average person in America. They represent the interests of lobbyists. They represent Goodyear, the tire company. It's in their best interest to keep wars going on because they make money off of wars, off of the destruction of other countries and other people's economies. And so these people are run by Big Pharma, and the lobbyists are Big Pharma. And so they don't enter into Congress or Senate as millionaires, but they become that because they take money from lobbyists. And I don't expect white people to do for me what I expect Black people to do. Since we walk around and use this term so loosely, I know what Dr. King said is true. Dr. King said, you don't judge a man by the color of his skin, you judge him by the content of his character. And Black people have failed this test miserably because we judge people by their color. Just if they Black, they must be all right. But I'm 50, so I understand that everybody that's skin folk, probably not kinfolk. And to be more specific about your question, first thing that the president did that I like is the president said that the FBI was a criminal operation. Growing up in the inner cities, I understand as an adult today that the FBI was responsible for flooding our communities with drugs and weapons. I've always felt like the FBI was a criminal operation. And then Black people would come to me and say, well, he only saying that because his friends are criminals. I don't care why he's saying it. In fact, I never talked to him to confer with him why he said it. I just know it to be a true statement. So my mind responds to things that are true. President Obama took away the budget, or he allowed the budget for the HBCUs to be cut. And he tried to reorganize how they get their money. They had to apply for money every year. Donald Trump came into office, and in January, the first 30 days he was in office, he had all of the HBU presidents come to the White House, and he gave them $10 years worth of funding. They don't have to apply for money. In fact, most of them would have closed when COVID happened because there's no way they could have survived. The Black president didn't do it. Bill Clinton didn't do it. Joe Biden didn't do it. Donald Trump did it. He also got the crime bill done. I'm an advocate for people who come home from prison to be given a second opportunity. And a lot of my friends went to prison when they were young, when they were teenagers, and they were overcharged, and they were given life sentences and handed down tremendous sentences that white people were not given in court with the same kind of cases. And when the crime bill got signed, immediately Black people started coming home. So I appreciated that. Obama never got that done. He was an apologist. He went to Kenya and tried to talk to them about, gay rights, and never talking about the black man and the black man's plight. And as a black president, he had an opportunity to put an agenda together to help develop black men, to get us out of these communities, keep us from killing each other, give us create some opportunities for us. But he was a coward. He wouldn't speak up. And Joe Biden was with him. And Joe Biden never spoke out against an unarmed black man being murdered. He'd been in office for 47 years. He was in office when Rodney King got beat. Show me a video of Joe Biden ever saying that it was wrong. He went to George Floyd's funeral because he's running for president, and Negroes allow him to do that. So Donald Trump, even the stuff that he's wrong about, he stands on it. He don't
like it's okay for us to be killed by cops. Like it's okay for cops. I mean, say what you want about Obama, but he put consent decrees on police officers on precincts that had patterns of abuse. Do you know what a consent decree is?
No, I don't know what it is, because they still killing unarmed black men. How did it help us?
Well,
I asked you, how did that help us?
Let me finish. So a consent decree. A consent decree is
really intelligent bullshit. Tell us how it helped us.
How did I'm telling you what Obama put in place a consent decree, which means places like the Baltimore Police Department that have patterns of abuse have the government watch over them, and if they don't reform, they get taken over. That's over. That was over with Jeff Sessions. But it's okay with you.
The government watched over. I said so.
So you have a president that emboldens his police officers to it makes it easier. I mean, so understand something. So a place like Ferguson or Baltimore or Chicago that once had government oversight no longer has the government oversight, so they can kill with impunity. That's basically what your president is telling these white boys.
Government oversight, bruh. Government oversight. What does that mean?
What do you mean? What does it mean?
Oversight?
I mean, see,
they still killing black. They killed black men the whole time Obama was in office. What the fuck did that consent decree do?
But Obama didn't encourage it. I mean, you can say what you want about it, but he didn't encourage it. He didn't.
You know what he did? Obama pandered to his supporters, just like Trump pandered.
Just like you're pandering to Trump supporters.
Okay,
that's what you're doing.
That's what he should do.
But that's what you're doing. I mean, that's what you're doing. You're pandering to conservative whites, because you know, as a black face, if you can say the dumbest shit you say, it don't have to be true. But as long as it's pro-Trump and anti-black, they're gonna give you kudos. They're gonna pat you on your head and say, "Good boy." And that's all the song and dance is for. Because nothing you said makes sense. Trump is a liar. You're repeating lies.
Okay. So
we just had a debate yesterday. I mean, fact check him. Fact check him. I mean, I can see this. I can see this in the 1980s. I can see this with Ronald Reagan. And I mean, I can forgive you for being fooled by that shit.
I don't want
you being fooled by it. He's a 2-bit comment. White people are not even convinced by him, and you niggas, and you are.
We can't hear if both of y'all talking.
Either of you guys, if you're talking over each other.
I mean, so I let him talk. I mean, and for real, I mean, you're spewing foolishness. Half the shit you saying is not even true.
Well, so let us go to the comments. Let us go to the comments.
So you guys started talking about the fact that it sounds like under both parties, you guys got on the topic of them killing black men in the streets under either party. And so someone in the comments asked a question: how will either party help eliminate systemic racism?
I think first you gotta have a plan for it. There's no even plan for it to handle system. They don't even systemic racism doesn't even exist to Donald Trump. He said that out of his mouth. So if you can't even get this man to acknowledge that the problem exists, how the hell are they going to solve it? Say what you want about.
Didn't you have Barack Obama for 8 years?
Obama's not a president. Trump said
he's around.
Trump said racism don't exist. Defend that. Defend that shit.
One at a time.
Defend your president.
America. He's all over America.
He's not the president though. Your boy president.
Riding Joe Biden's jock.
Trump is the president.
Trying to sell.
He said racism don't exist.
Family, we're trying to get to the meat and bones of the discussion.
But
So
you're not going to answer I see you can't answer a question because if you can't do your philosophic foolery, you don't want to answer the question. If President Obama is a black man like me and you appear to be, he was the president for 8 years. What plan did he put in place for systemic racism? He knows it exists.
But what you say, Jauhar, are you saying that Trump has one in place right now?
No, I didn't. First of all, I don't think that no one person can come up with a plan for systemic racism. And first of all, it starts with individuals. Like black people are the most racist people on the fucking planet. They just don't have power, or they haven't realized the power to exercise it against other people. Black people talk more shit about everybody in the world. I mean, look at this clown that's on here tonight talking about, he described a relationship with Donald Trump as like that's a person that he knows. He don't even know this guy. He only knows what CNN reports. I thought he was going to tell me something that happened personally with him. Like I could tell you last night, Joe Biden sat on the world news and lied and said nobody lost their health insurance, but based on a health plan that they put up. Now, everybody knows that people lost their health insurance. He said not one person. So to say,
and that's worse than lies that Trump tells every day.
So to say that you don't like Trump because he's a liar, I mean, that just makes you look like a fool. All of them lie. Hey, bro, breaking news. All of them lie, including Obama and Clinton. All of them lie.
We talking about Trump, bro. I mean, Trump said systemic racism
This is not a
don't
debate
exist.
about Trump.
I can't.
This
Can
is
you
a debate
answer
about
this?
Biden and Trump.
So is Trump right when he says systemic racism don't exist? Is he right? Is that right?
In his mind, not in mine. See, I got one of my own.
He's the president of the United States. He don't have a responsibility to be more honest.
It doesn't matter. In his mind, it doesn't.
Why does
I'm not going to argue with him.
How does it not matter? He's the president of the United States. What he thinks,
See, you saying
what he
two
says
different.
matters.
See, first you're saying two different things, bro.
I'm not saying.
You said he don't think that it exists, and then you say, how can it not matter? So which one is it? Those are two different things.
I'm asking. I'm replying to you. You said. All right, you know what? Never mind. Okay, go ahead. Go on to the next question. Hey, go on to the next question.
You confused, man.
Okay.
I am.
Hang around me a little bit. I'll clean you up.
I pass.
Come on.
yes, okay. Hi. Yeah, I do want to make I want to shout out some of these people on the stream that's very lively tonight. Malik, Dyke, Rhonda, someone, Clyde says, I am voting for third-party candidates this year. I'm voting for the Green Party because they support reparations and have had since the 60s. That's a good point. Reparations.
Wasted vote, though. You know they don't have a chance of winning.
Okay. So if
Are you speaking to them not having a chance to actually get reparations? Is that what you're saying?
No,
Jauhar?
if we would stick together, we could get reparations. But we got a goofball ass organization called the Congressional Black Caucus that's best known for throwing $60 million parties, cigars and wine and prostitutes in Washington every year, just networking who's parties, and they don't stand for shit. Like if they really stood up to these white boys and this bullshit, a lot of stuff would change. So I don't blame white people when we have black people who lack courage, who are in the position, but they don't do shit. I'm not an apologist for them.
Shaka, you wanted, go ahead. Shaka, you wanted to respond to
He can't respond to that.
Jauhar, you gotta allow him to, please.
Okay, he can't.
Just speaking to the question, it really depends on where the person lives. If they live in Maryland or DC or a solid red or blue state, I mean, it's not a waste of vote. I mean, vote your conscience. If that's what I mean, I don't blame them. Neither party has had our best interest. Again, unlike my man, I'm not a jockey for the party.
He's so fucking confused. He just said he voted for Biden and he don't like.
No, I said I voted for. I already voted for.
Yeah. So Shaka, I have a direct question for you because there's a lot of people. I think even when we had Trump and Clinton, a lot of people were on the fence as well as far as who to vote for. And there was a lot of discussion around the lesser of two evils. We're having the same conversation this time around. And I know, Shaka, when we spoke, you were saying you don't really like Biden, but you're going to vote for him anyway. Why, if you don't trust an individual, why put them in office? What is the plan? Is this
He don't have no
strategy
morals.
or
He don't have no agenda.
Well, I was initially for Bernie Sanders. I still support that platform, but
Punk
Biden
ass
won
Bernie.
out.
They took it from Bernie.
Yeah, how you gotta let him
You have
respond?
to.
Okay, I'm gonna mute.
Share
I'm gonna
this
mute
platform,
myself
beloved.
so I can talk. I'm gonna mute myself so I can talk, and y'all can't hear me
Thank you.
because this nigga's crazy.
Trump is a disaster. I mean, the unmitigated cruelty.
Like
What he's
CNN.
doing.
Trump is a disaster.
We can still hear you. Go
Um,
ahead, Shaka.
Go ahead, Shaka.
Kids on the board. I mean, it just I don't see how anyone of good conscience could align himself with the level of cruelty that he displays. I think he's a danger to he's a danger to the planet. Just how reckless he is, and more directly, he's a danger to our vote. I mean, if you see what they're doing to the vote, so at least with Biden, I live to fight again. I live to vote again in another election. Trump is doing everything in his power, and I guess it's cool with some people. Some of us, as long as we feel like we're part of the inclick, that it's okay to just discriminate against other blacks. But it's blacks and all. I mean, like their votes being thrown out, disenfranchised. You're about to put on the third white supremacist judge on the court, and the ramifications, how it's going to reverberate for generations, it's going to affect us in ways that some people obviously don't understand, and I can't get them. Some people, you can't get some people to understand certain things, but he's a danger. And as much as I don't like Biden, he's more controllable. And again, we live to fight another day with Biden. With Trump, democracy is in peril.
I want to ask both of you. Some people describe their characters as Trump is the in-your-face racist. We all know he's racist, and he don't make no qualms about it. He speaks his mind, very belligerent in how he says it. And then you have Biden, where most would agree that if you definitely go into his history and look at all the things that he's done while he was there and up on that hill, they would say he's racist too, but he's more he can articulate his racism in a lot more smooth way than Trump can. So some people will argue that in that instance, Biden is a little more dangerous than Trump because you don't see the snake in the grass versus you see a big bull running right at you. What would you guys say to that?
So
I'll let him go. All right, I'll grab him.
Yeah,
thank you for letting me go. First of all, Trump is not a racist. That's number one. Number one, Trump is not a racist. Trump is about money and Trump is about power. Trump has been around black people. He opened up Atlantic City with black people. Anybody who know anything knows that when Atlantic City was open, he could have opened it with the white boys, with the Italians. Trump's partners, the people who he went into business with, Michael Jackson, Don King, Oprah Winfrey, they know that Muhammad Ali was there. He's not a racist. Before he ran for president, every rapper was big up in Trump. Y'all, Negroes are just so fucking ignorant. No matter who runs, when a black man runs for president, he's against black people too if he's a Republican, because the Democrats spend the same old shit. Joe Biden and Bill Clinton, the Democrats, created and produced a 94 crime bill that locked thousands and thousands and thousands of black men up for nonviolent offenses, and they became multimillionaires from that. So to keep spinning that, when Strom Thurmond died, the senator from South Carolina, one of his requests was and everybody knew Strom Thurmond was a card-holding member of the KKK. Strom Thurmond's, one of his requests was that Joe Biden do his eulogy. So, I mean, Joe Biden has been lying since he's been on the Hill. He said he was in the top 10 of his class in law school. He was actually number 76 out of a class of 85. I didn't break that news. Sam Donaldson broke that news. I mean, nobody has lied more than Joe Biden. And the difference between me and this character that's supposed to be debating me is for me, at least I vote for something I believe in. This guy vote for something he don't even believe in. So he don't stand for nothing. That's why we're in the condition we're in.
Okay.
Go ahead, you can let him talk, man. I'm gonna go to mute. So when he's saying crazy stuff,
Appreciate you, bro.
cuss him out.
Alkema said, Shaka.
I would look at it a little differently than how you posed the question. Joe Biden, a racist, probably, yeah. But through his history, I mean, his policy has been racist because that's where the American body politic was. I'm making no excuses for his crime bill, but a lot of those crime bill, like when people talk about the 1994 crime bill, the people that defend it, they'll talk about the people that defend Biden. They'll talk about how high crime was back then, and the people that excoriate Biden, they'll act like crime bill just started with Biden. Like that was the first crime bill. All right, crime bill started with the 13th Amendment, and ever since then, it's been a living document, a living, breathing document that's been updated successively, generation after generation after generation. Again, the type of person that just started following politics when Donald Trump became president, yeah, you might not know that. It might have escaped you that all Joe Biden was doing was trying to be as Republican as the Republicans were being. He wanted to prove to Ronald Reagan and Newt Gingrich and all that Congress that, look, I could be as hard on these niggas as you can be on them. And that's all that shit was about, because there was crime bills signed under George Bush, before him, under Ronald Reagan, and each time they updated. So yeah, Joe Biden was racist. That was absolute racist policy, but it was part of the what was accepted. Now we're at a point in time where that crime bill is under the scope, where at least the people that voted for Democrats right now are at least stating that crime bill is something that needs to be deconstructed. Meanwhile, this Trump Justice Department has up the tick. They let a few niggas out, but they sure enough they up the sentencing structure, everything. So they're going against that. They're going in line with the norm of what making crime bills more draconian. So it was a racist bill, absolutely. He gets no pass for that. And if and when he gets in, one of his main jobs is to deconstruct that bill. But it didn't just come out of nowhere. It didn't just happen. It didn't just say one day, say, you know what, we need a crime bill. The crime bill was already in place. From Nixon to Reagan, they've been updating that crime bill generation after generation.
So I have one of the questions, just a follow-up question to the lesser of two evils. So what are some solutions that you guys can present tonight that Black people can maybe work towards, so they don't always find themselves, whether it's every 4 to 8 years, in the same position where they have to vote between the lesser of two evils, or they're voting between two people that they know don't really have a genuine concern or care for Black people. What is it that you guys would suggest that we start doing is there something that we could begin to do so that we do not have to constantly come up against that, having to vote the lesser of two evils? What would you guys suggest that we start doing? Or is the system fixed against us and there's nothing that we can do?
So first of all, you have to understand that politics is a business and Black people don't. Black people treat politics like they Redskin fans and Cowboy fans, and no matter how much they lose and no matter how much they don't have a commitment to winning, you just accept being just losing. You Black Christian losing, Black Redskin fan losing, Black Democrat losing. Politics is a business. I believe that we should be in both parties. I believe that equally we should be in both parties. That way we can influence what needs to be done. I believe wholeheartedly we've supported the Democratic Party for the last 50 or better years, and we've gotten the worst communities, the worst education system, the worst financing, the worst end of banking. We've gotten the worst end of the crime bill. We've gotten the worst end of everything. And the Democrats is who owe us because that's who we support. The Republicans shouldn't support us because they should support their constituent base. Now, if we was in both parties, we could hold both parties accountable. And as to your question about the lesser of two evils, first we have to address the evil in us, because being cowardly is a part of being evil. Like, we don't address stuff that's wrong. Like, this guy just sat up here and described some of the evil of Joe Biden, and he still finds it in his mind to justify supporting this guy, and nothing has changed. Like, this guy still, he told a worker in Detroit that questioned him about his son getting all this money illegally. He called the guy a goddamn liar and wanted to challenge the guy to a fight. I mean, he throws Obama under the bus every chance he get. Like, I mean, Joe Biden is a fuck up, and he's running for president on whether people like Donald Trump or not. I mean, when he was a young man, he couldn't win the nomination, and this is his third time, and he's almost 80 years old. And to go back to what the brother was saying, he supported Bernie Sanders, and I believe that Bernie Sanders probably was a better presidential candidate than either of these guys. But because the Democrats are a bunch of punk-ass fools, they let them take the nomination and take the party, and they use the coon in South Carolina, Congressman, his name will come to me in a minute, and Clyburn, and he gave the Democratic nomination and gave that shit to Joe Biden. Joe Biden been losing the whole time. They took him out the race last summer because all of the allegations of him molesting and touching women and smelling women's hair and being the fucking creep that he is. And AOC and Bernie Sanders, it's a whole bunch of people in the party that really represent the issues of American people. But them old ass racists that run the Democratic Party that you think are different than the Republican Party, but Nancy Pelosi is worse than Donald Trump because she know what she's doing through legislation. She the one holding up the money coming to the community. She's a nasty, mean witch. Like my man say, she's a mean lady. And as long as you keep following the wrong leadership, you're gonna keep getting the same thing.
So Shaka, what are some of the solutions or suggestions?
I actually kind of agree with some of what my man said. So yeah, I mean, we see.
No, don't do that. Don't do that, bro. Don't do that.
I said some. I said some.
Don't do that.
But so here's the thing. So to answer the question, what we can do, we could take a page from the Tea Party hand playbook. What they did when they took over, when Obama got in, like you mentioned, he had House and Senate, but they had an activated base. And what they did was they routed up their base and they got in some staunch conservatives. The Tea Party got in, up and down the Congress, state house. They won governorships. AOC and Cori Bush and Ilhan, they're all the progressive counterparts to the Tea Party. So the more that they get empowered, the more that people support people like that, the Democratic Party can be taken over, because Black people, Black women especially, are the base of the Democratic Party. And so long as we can I agree. I don't like Nancy Pelosi. I don't like Chuck Schumer. I don't like any. But that's the party. Just like a lot of the Tea Party didn't like John Boehner or Rick Cantor or some people that led the party at the time. They took him over, and they eventually got Donald Trump. That's who they wanted. That's their knight in shining armor. Say what you want about the Tea Party and Trump. They had a strategy they put in place, and they got their man in. If we can get to converse to Trump, then we will see progress.
Yeah, give us
something
our
that's the
props.
opposite of Trump.
Give us our props. Give us
I
our
mean,
props.
I look.
Yeah.
I'm just here because it's what it is. I don't agree with the philosophy, how they govern. But their strategy was sound, and for Black people and people, progressive people that want to see change, people that want to see put an end to oligarchs controlling the fate of our nation, and by extension our lives. Do that, because we shouldn't. I mean, everyone should have a living wage. There's no reason. I mean, there's no reason why anybody, I don't care what you're doing, when you work 40 hours a week, you should be able to pay your rent.
Can we agree on?
And take care of your kids.
Can we agree on something else? The Democratic Party want to keep you dependent on the government. It believes in big government. If you as a Republican, most Black guys in urban communities have Republican behavior. They sold drugs. They got involved in criminal behavior because they didn't agree to sit around to the first of the month to be able to get whatever they
bro.
can
I
get.
mean, that's not. I mean, but you forgetting all the people that are swimming in poverty based on Republican policies.
It's a Democratic
You're forgetting
policy.
that when you
Democratic policies.
I mean,
It makes us dependent on the government.
what are Republican Party? Republican parties are tax cuts for the rich, and you're squeezing the poor.
Can we talk about that? Can we talk about that for a second?
I mean, sure.
If I'm a business owner, I'm a person that believes in free enterprise and capitalism, and I started off on the wrong side of it because I had to get in with whatever was available to me, right? When you are a business owner, you take more risks. So the reward for taking more risks, like I create jobs, I shouldn't have to pay the same taxes as a person who don't.
Every business owner don't create jobs. I mean, every business owner don't create jobs, and there's still a fair share of taxes. I mean, because the roadways to your business are paid for by tax dollars. The training I mean, all it is, it's just an equal share in society. Since Ronald Reagan, the tax burden has been pushed more and more on the middle class, where big business has not been paying taxes. It's one thing not to be overtaxed, but it's companies that are getting tax returns who ain't paying nothing. I mean, they're just fleecing the American people. And it's not just taxes, it's subsidies for oil and gas, fracking, all kind of like the activities that the whole, we're not benefiting from it. A small few, coal, we're not benefiting from coal. The white boy that owns the coal mine, he's benefiting. That's it.
So,
and he's killing the people working for him.
So if we was involved, then we could have a say. But if we not involved, how we gonna have a say?
Involved in what?
If we was involved in the decision making. If we just wasn't giving people our vote who we don't believe in. The difference between me and you, I believe in what Trump doing. That's why I support him.
But there's another difference. I believe Trump is a disaster. So you don't believe you don't believe he's a disaster. So
I believe
Joe Biden all he want. But from my mindset, I have no choice but to believe in Biden because Trump is a failure. And
I tell you what, I wouldn't want my daughter to marry somebody who she don't believe in.
I mean, hey, good thing I'm not getting married to any one of them. I'm voting, and I'm gonna get on stepping.
Yeah, I tell you what, there's certain principles. I'm gonna stick with a guy who believe in what he believes.
I mean, would you want to marry a random pussy grabber? I mean, that's would you want that for your daughter?
Well, I mean, if they like their pussies grabbed, I mean, I don't necessarily believe that. I've never seen Donald Trump doing that, but I got pictures of Joe Biden with his face in women's hair, smelling their hair. A lady in Houston, some high-level person in the Democratic Party that they paid off, she made a claim against him, and he had to acknowledge that he was out of order. He always
like
touching and feeling on women. You know that, right?
Your man got 19 claims, though. I don't want to get in the mud, but your man got like 19 claims.
I have a question. Okay. Fellas. Money in politics. We know that the money exchange hand is what rules the world. I mean, every president or soon to be president has to go in front of the AIPAC and kiss the ring of the Jews because they have so much resource and power and wealth in this society. So if the money, and then you have those that hire what are the people that go up to Congress and fight on their behalf? What's it called?
Lobbyists.
Lobbyists. You have, all these pharmaceutical industries and bankers and all these major corporations have lobbyists. They just got money to burn to be able to get what they want in the political arena. So, and here we are, Black folks in America. We do have the resources, but unfortunately, we're not organized in a fashion to make anything happen like some other folks in this society do for themselves. So if the money in politics is what's ruling the day right now, and Black people aren't putting their money in the politics like these other people, how then are we expected to get anything from this system if quid pro quo is the name of the game?
I mean, whose fault is it that we don't participate? I mean, we don't participate in nothing. We don't participate in nothing. So you get out of the life, we learn this as children, you get out what you put in. And if you're not willing to come to meetings, if you're not willing to study up on whatever the discussion is, to make yourself knowledgeable so that you can have some intelligent input, then I'm not sure that I blame anybody but you. One of the things that we do as Black people is we sit around and we mistreat each other and we misuse each other, and the Black community is under attack by what I refer to as the fake Black elite, the FBE. And it's Black people who have education that have determined that those of us in our communities who are struggling are not worth them fighting for. But they come to us when they need our vote. And so again, I believe that we need to hold Black elected officials accountable. And we can't spend time calling white people racist if we trifling and don't hold Black people accountable.
Shaka?
As far as money in politics, that's a tricky question because a lot of it's by design, a lot of it's new. Money's always been in politics, but only after Obama was elected, when the Citizens United got it signed to law, that unlimited dark money is in there. So now we got money where it's untraceable money. So I mean, it's money in there that I don't know that the average person can even compete with. So we, as far as the strategy, we got to build a strategy around super PACs where we can get money. But first, you got to have an ideas person. I mean, and it's people that have ideas, and you want to use that money to incubate those ideas and get people in places where they decision-making places. As far as what was the other question?
That was it. Money in politics and the quid pro quo right now being the strong arm in politics. But I want to go to the stream.
Sis, really quick, I read yesterday that we spent $3 billion last year on alcohol, $22 billion on beauty products. Mm-hmm. So we just have misplaced values. That's all. Mm-hmm. And somebody got to call us out on our bullshit. Mm-hmm. And we can't blame Trump for that, my friend.
I don't blame Trump for everything. I blame Trump for what he should be blamed for. I mean, like the fact that you see nothing wrong with him, that's just, it's strange, but that's your right. I mean,
see how y'all lie, see how y'all make up stuff. I never said I didn't see anything wrong with Trump. I see something wrong with all of us. There's something wrong with me. I think you a generally decent guy, but I just found something wrong with you. You vote for people that you don't believe in. So to me, that's a fundamental. I mean, to me, that's a fundamental problem. I think a guy is flawed who do that. At least I believe in the guy that I'm with.
Well, I'll give you that. I mean, but
let me ask you guys a prevailing question on the stream tonight. I'm hearing a lot of people saying, why does it matter? Either way it goes, we're still going to be Black in America, Cindy say. Somebody else says, Obara says, believe in us. So basically, in so many words, people are saying, what is the point of participating in this system of oppression? if we know that this system is designed to oppress Black people, why do we continue to participate in it? Why don't we get out of this system altogether and create something for ourselves?
Because everybody can't do that. And invariably, we're leaving a lot of masses behind. If we picked up those that could say we can let's lay the system, invariably we'd be leaving a lot of people behind. That's first of all. Second of all, we're approaching a time in our existence in this new world where the demographics, our numeric numbers, give us strength in numbers. So now is the worst time to be like abandoning the system. There's a reason why they're working overtime to stop our vote. There's a reason why Trump is trying to shut the whole post office down so people don't vote. There's a reason. And if we ignore that and say, nah, turn our back on it, we're making a grave mistake because we're letting our enemies decide the fate of ourselves. We're letting our enemies decide how many schools, how much money allocated to our schools, our roads, all that we're seeding. And it's easy to say, look, I am done with it and it doesn't matter, but there is a difference. Yes, Biden's racist. Yes, Trump is racist. But there's fundamental losses
Trump
that
is
they
not
have.
racist.
There are
Trump
kids
is
on the
racist.
border in cages because of Trump. I mean, so there's a certain level of cruelty that will not exist. There are police officers that are emboldened that say that they listen to his words and say, yeah, I can kill a nigga. There are citizens.
See how you
listen to
love.
him and saying, look, you know what? I have the right to take my gun.
Why are you sitting up here making up lies, bro? Show us the clip. Can you forward me the clip where Trump said,
I don't mean to forward you anything. If you don't see what I see, I'm not even gonna get into that.
So you just gonna make up stuff.
I see something that you don't see. Just like
you just gonna make up stuff.
So Jauhar, to that same question, what do you say to those who say, why do we still participate? And after you had mentioned earlier on that after 50 years or so, we're still, voting Democrat and we're still getting the same crap year after year after year. And so why continue to participate?
So first of all, we have not maximized our potential outcome in this system because we only participate on one side of it. And then we really don't participate. We just get drugged into it because we like they just herd us into it because we believe that people who they put on TV have some type of significance and we listen to them as opposed to doing the research. Like anybody who I talk to that's reasonable, when I lay it down for them, they be like, yeah, you know what, you're right. Like, how am I gonna blame somebody white for the district that I was just in Baltimore? And Elijah Cummings was the congressman for 25 years. And it's 8,000 units that's vacant while they got all them homeless Black people in that city. How much money came through Baltimore and through his district in 26 years? Where was the plan? Who held them accountable? So if we don't participate in the system, how can we say the system don't work? We don't go to PTA meetings. We're not involved in civic associations. We're not at ANC in community meetings, working with the developers, talking about what these new structures should look like. Black people don't participate in shit like that. They go to the mall, they go to the bar to happy hour, they shop, they get their nails and feet done. Like the real shit, Black people not interested in. Everything is a facade. And then everybody's an expert. And then everybody's an expert on who should be the president. This is some dumbass shit. Attacking Ice Cube. I met Ice Cube in the late 80s fighting the police, fighting against the same shit we talking about. But because Ice Cube is a successful Black businessman, because he decides that he gonna support Donald Trump, now he's a sellout. Man, y'all crazy as hell. That's why I'm fucking
Jauhar, my question to you is, you mentioned earlier about the elitists and the educated amongst us. And the people that the elected officials that are Black, that are in places in these inner cities that we're talking about in Baltimore, these are the same elitists that you mentioned earlier. Can we really depend on those? Because according to you, those people are those Black people are our problem. So when you begin to talk about those elected officials, are we surprised that nothing is being done? Because based on what you're saying, they're not really for us. So should we
Right.
really be dependent on them? What is the alternative then?
So
Because this is the same elitists that you say we cannot depend on.
So the alternative is to develop your people and run your people. Is more people, what I learned when I started participating in politics, I learned that Black people who are the so-called leaders in the Democratic Party, they participate in voter suppression. What do I mean? They participate in making sure it's a low voter turnout because they know the incumbent has a better chance to win. I've sat in strategy meetings talking to Marion Barry and different high elected officials and to understand their philosophy and how they think. They don't make sure that every young person going through school understanding that there's civic responsibility. In fact, you shouldn't even have a driver's license if you don't vote. Like, this country could do things to get people more in tune and more involved in the process, but they don't want people involved. And the Black people don't do anything to push the line. And I have a problem with the Black people that we entrust to do what's right for us, but we don't hold them accountable. What I do, I practice holding them accountable. If you come to me and say you need my help, and you say you got our people's best interests at heart, and you got the community's best interests at heart, that's what I'm expecting you to do. And when I see you not voting along those lines, see, I'm not a Republican because everything Republicans do, I support. I don't do that. I don't believe in that. I believe in supporting ideas. I like Angela Alsobrooks in PG County. I think she's talented. She's a Democrat. I also like Hogan. He's a Republican. You got to be involved.
So do you have a problem with the voter suppression that the Republicans are doing?
Bruh, the Democrats doing it. The people who you support.
But
The only reason that they talking about voting,
it's documented.
Is because
these are
they
laws. They
want
bro.
Trump out, bruh. That's the only reason they talking about voting, trying to encourage you to vote.
I mean,
Any other time, they don't make a big deal about
this. It doesn't matter. I'm just talking about access to the ballot, though. I mean, don't you understand that Republican stakeholders?
Do you live in Maryland? Do you live in Maryland?
Virginia.
Okay, so a month ago,
I'm just trying to get you. Can you at least acknowledge that the voter suppression, the rollback of the 1965 voters' rights laws, those things? Can we at least admit that that's wrong? That hurts us because these are Republican policies.
Bro, it's not Republican policies. I
mean,
just participated. Bro, I just participated.
So we're not even going to acknowledge that. So
I just participated because it's
I acknowledge Nancy Pelosi.
Bro,
I acknowledge Chuck Schumer. You cannot acknowledge.
That's real because that's real shit. What I'm trying to explain.
And so Mitch McConnell ain't got 400 bills on his desk that he just sitting there ignoring.
I'm not sure.
Come on, man.
I'm not sure.
You're not giving me an honest conversation.
Bro, that's all I can ever offer you is an honest conversation. What I'm saying to you is I don't believe. So you telling me you think only one party participates in voter suppression?
Right now, yes. Only one party does not want Black people voting. It's one party that does not want Black people voting.
Because see, you being a hypocrite. Dr. King said, the injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So you can't say right now, no, not right now. If you ever participate in it, it's wrong. And I'm telling you, I witnessed Black Democrats that I supported in the past participate in it.
We're talking about right now, though, man. I mean, what happened in the past? We're talking right now. Right now, they are making it harder for Black people to vote. Right now, there are lines right now, Black people in the South got to wait online sometimes 4 or 5 hours to vote. It should not be that way because in the white suburbs, they're going in and out.
No. In DC, bro, we just had an election in DC.
That's DC. DC is democratically controlled. So Democrats, they want them to vote. So they're not going to restrict them.
No, bro. Guess what? We stayed at the polls. I mean, you doing all that, but I'm getting ready to tell you a fact, bro. You can fact check this.
I mean,
The polls closed at 8 o'clock. The last people got their votes in after 1 a.m. on June the 2nd, June the 3rd, 2020. Black people practice voter suppression. Black Democrats practice voter suppression. So I don't believe that it's just Republicans. I believe that Black Democrats, I believe every incumbent believes that it's in their best interest to keep the voter turnout down.
Okay, guys.
Whoever's in power, that's what they believe.
So I know it's actually we've been on an hour and we have to start wrapping up. So I'm gonna let each of you guys take a chance in closing to just what do you foresee if Trump wins in the next what does the next 4 years look like? If Biden wins, what does the next 4 years look like? We can start with you, Shaka, and then we'll end up with Jauhar.
I mean, if Trump wins, I think it's going to be another 4 years of disaster, another 4 years of controversy, and I really think that he's on a great American crime spree. So whatever he's doing, he's setting up. He has dictatorial ambitions. So I think democracy is in trouble if he gets another 4 years. If Biden gets in there, not much will change. I just hope people stay activated. The fact that so many people are down on him, it could be a good thing because that means him and Kamala won't go into office with the same kind of fanfare that Obama had. People just let him do what they want to do. I think if he gets in, there'll be enough pressure on him from all sides to actually at least do what's right. I just think we're in trouble either way. I think Trump has woken up a dormant white nationalist gene in America. I don't know
I agree with you on that.
And I think if he loses or wins, I think they're emboldened. And I think Black people need to be vigilant because they're very angry, they're very ignorant, and they're led by a man that doesn't really care. He doesn't take stock of his words. So he says reckless things from his bully pulpit, and I don't think he understands the how it reverberates around the country and how people act on his instincts. So it's have unpredictable times. It's gonna be interesting. Keep your head on a swivel.
Okay, Jauhar, if you can, we could give you the last response to what do you foresee if Trump remains in office, or what can we expect if Biden wins? You're on mute, brother. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I got you. So what I believe is, one, that the country is better off if Trump gets another 4 years because he needs to drain the swamp. I am so happy every time I see all the old criminals who've been robbing the nation of its sovereignty for years. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. I mean, just check out these people's wealth and then see how much money they was worth when they got into office. It's clear that Hunter Biden is involved in multi-million-dollar deals in China and Russia and Ukraine because of the faulty democratic system. And because we in a situation right now where we don't want Trump because our enemies, and I'm speaking specifically to Black people, our enemies don't want Trump. We begin to, like Malcolm X said, when the master's sick, the Black people say, "What's wrong, man?" So we sick. Like Joe Biden has never done anything. In 47 years, nobody can produce one bill or one act of economic justice or kindness that Joe Biden has ever sponsored or pushed for our agenda or our race. So I want to be clear about that. And secondly, when you talk about voter suppression, I participated in an election in Seat Pleasant, Maryland about a month ago with a Black guy that's a Democrat, mayor, stole the election from a Black female through the mail. So I'm not crazy enough to sit around and believe that the election can't be stolen through the mail. In Ward 8 in DC, where I live at, we had a council member who we believe his election or his seat was going to be faulty. We was talking about this back in May back last April and May that in June we thought that the mayor and the administration in DC was going to do something with the mail-in ballots. So we don't believe that the votes are secure through the mail. Black people are going to restaurants, bars, they fighting to get in nightclubs, and now all of a sudden somebody want us to mail our vote in. We can take our black asses to the poll just like we go everywhere else we want to go. And so nothing will change unless we change. The definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. And I'm about change. I'm about mixing it up and trying to create some opportunities so we can do stuff different. This is like jumping on the highway leaving DC, going on 95 South, saying you headed to New York. You're never gonna get there until you have the courage to make a U-turn. So thank y'all, I appreciate it. I appreciate the brother calming down once I start putting some of this knowledge on him. And I know he agreed with a lot of what I was saying, even though he probably won't admit it, but maybe we'll get together one day and chop it up, you know, after Trump get this 4 more years. And maybe I'll, you know, invite you over to the team, buddy, and you can help bring some of your ideas over here and work with some people you believe in. Thank y'all, I appreciate y'all.
We thank you, Jauhar. We thank you so much, and Shaka, you as well. We appreciate both of you brothers for coming on. This has been the conversation. This has been, you know, the conversation on the tongues of the country right now, at least Black America anyways. We want to let you guys know that there is a part 2 to this discussion. The topic is Trump, Biden, or with a question mark. So we have another strong brother that's coming on Monday at 8 p.m. right here, back again, live on Zoom. I like to say we heard the left, we heard the right, and so Brother Imhotep is going to come and bring us right back down to the center this coming Monday. So don't go nowhere, don't go far, because this conversation is to be continued. Hanifa, you wanted to say anything before we wrap it up?
I just want to say thanks to Shaka and Jauhar. Thanks for behaving you guys selves. And enough respect to the both of you guys for just standing in what you believe in and standing in what you're passionate about. You know, whether I agree or not is irrelevant. I respect you guys for standing on what you believe in. So again, thanks again. You guys didn't have to be here, but thanks for volunteering your time and coming on the Empower Hour this evening.
No problem. Thanks for the invite. Y'all have a great weekend.
Thank you, Bo. All right.
Alrighty.
Take care. Peace.